Feeling distant from your significant other? Getting the Love You Want by Harville Hendrix could help. It's a well-known self-help book that many find useful for understanding relationships better. A whopping of readers have praised it, and it's easy to see why. The book looks at the Imago, which is our unconscious ideal partner based on our childhood. It's interesting that if people have seen similarities between their past loves and their caregivers. This shows how we might look for partners who remind us of the good and bad from our youth. Knowing about the Imago idea can change how couples see their issues. It encourages working on problems with better talks and special tasks. Surprisingly, of those who tried the book's activities said they stopped fighting as much. And of them felt closer and happier together. The book talks a lot about what makes love work, what makes us fight, and ways to deepen your bond. It's no wonder that of the readers saw their own love stories in the Imago. Also, knew just how hard it is to tell dreams from real life in their relationships. With its fresh ideas and useful tips, this book has touched many hearts. For example, said their therapy got better after they followed the book's advice. They got better at talking and solving problems together. Getting the Love You Want looks closely at the Imago, a deep idea about our perfect partner that comes from childhood. Of folks who tried the book's tasks said they fought less. Of those who kept up with the tasks felt their love growing stronger. Of the readers could see bits of their own relationships in the Imago idea. Of people whose counseling was influenced by the book said they got better at working things out. Understanding the Imago Harville Hendrix's work focuses on the Imago in his book, Getting the Love You Want. The Imago is the ideal partner image that forms in our minds. It comes from our early relationships, mainly with our parents. The concept of the Imago. The Imago includes both good and bad qualities we learned as kids. It becomes a pattern we unconsciously use to choose our partners later in life. How the Imago is formed. The Imago reflects the traits and behaviors we saw in early life. We look for partners who fit this pattern, trying to repeat the feelings of our childhood. Influence of childhood experiences. Hendrix points out how our early years deeply affect our relationships as adults. The Imago is created by how we were treated by those who raised us. It shapes who we look for in a partner, making us pick people who remind us of our past, good and bad. The role of unconscious attraction. Harville Hendrix's research uncovers the big role our unconscious mind plays in who we're drawn to. He says we often like people who remind us of our early caregivers. This happens even if our caregivers' qualities weren't all good. Seeking out these familiar traits is central to the Imago. Our minds pick up on and react to these familiar patterns from childhood. Seeking familiarity in partners Hendrix's idea of the Imago shows how we look for partners similar to our caregivers. This can make us choose partners who bring back both good and bad memories from the past. It often leads to repeating unhealthy patterns in relationships. But knowing about this process helps us understand ourselves better. This can lead to choosing healthier relationships. The impact of projective identification. Projective identification is another key topic in Hendrix's work. This is when we put our own problems on our partner without knowing it. It can start fights and power struggles. By understanding and dealing with this in our relationships, we can have a closer bond and grow personally. Romantic love and its illusions. Harville Hendrix looks into the tricky world of romantic love, focusing on its illusions and dreams. He believes that at first, romantic love is full of wish fulfillment. In this stage, people put their hidden desires and needs onto their partner. This makes them see their partner as their ideal, even when that doesn't match the truth. The fantasy of wish fulfillment. People in this stage might feel an intense connection. They could think they've met their perfect match, or the person who can meet all of their needs, but this feeling is often just a fantasy of wish fulfillment. Partners look at each other with rose-colored glasses, not seeing their true selves. The erosion of idealization. As time goes on, this idealized view can crumble. The partners might begin to see the gap between their imagined partner and the reality. This can lead to feeling let down, losing faith, and even feeling betrayed. This part of the relationship is very tough, as it's where they realize their partner can't meet all their needs. Hendrix points out that knowing yourself and growing is key to dealing with these stages of love. People need to understand their own wants and expectations. By doing so, they can understand the deeper reasons behind their relationships. This can help move past the early illusions of love and towards a relationship that's more real and fulfilling. Sources of conflict in relationships. Harville Hendrix's work, Getting the Love You Want, notes 3 major sources of relationship issues. These come from imago and unresolved childhood experiences. Couples often unintentionally reopen each other's old emotional wounds. They do this when trying to relive aspects of their own childhood. This can lead to repeating patterns of conflict and pain. Stirring up old wounds. According to the book, a key part of early childhood is having a caregiver who is always there, both physically and emotionally. This creates a sense of safety and trust important for later relationships. But when these early needs are not met, partners can reopen old emotional pain. This causes trouble and heartache in their relationship. Unresolved childhood issues. Hendrix's research highlights how childhood experiences shape us. It talks about an imago, a mix of early life influences that form our view of the world. When partners don't address their past, it stops them from connecting deeply. They struggle to overcome learned patterns from their childhood. Unrealistic expectations. The book also brings up romantic love thriving on ignorance and fantasy. High expectations and idealized views of our partner can make love exciting and fulfilling. But if these fantasies are not realistic, disappointment and conflict can grow in the relationship. Couples can tackle these conflicts by becoming more self-aware. They can improve how they communicate and foster personal growth for a better relationship. Hendrix offers valuable advice and exercises for couples. This can help them navigate their relationship's challenges and create a stronger bond. Book review, Getting the Love You Want, a guide for couples by Harville Hendrix. Getting the Love You Want, a guide for couples, is a key book in relationship counseling and personal growth. Written by Harville Hendrix, it explains his Imago Relationship Therapy. This therapy has a fresh look at how our closest relationships work. Overview of the book. Harville Hendrix, Ph.D., and Helen LaKelly Hunt, Ph.D., have created a remarkable text. It draws on their own research and experience. The book introduces the concept of imago, showing how our past shapes our present relationships. Key concepts and exercises. This book teaches that real living means being deeply connected to others and the world. It shows the value of being an attuned parent. This means listening, understanding, and caring for a child's unique needs. The authors also share imago dialogue and provide exercises to improve relationships. Testimonials and success stories. Men's groups have found this book helpful, with many ways to make relationships better within themselves. It can help people see the hidden reasons behind their choices, making relationships clearer. Therapists often recommend it because the book explains its ideas clearly and uses practical examples.